Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Hello friends, this is Professor Neelam Panchal from Gujarat University and I welcome you all in this session on benefits and limitations of control in an organization. Friends, let me introduce you to the topic. So in the complex and dynamic world of the organizational management, control stands out as a critical function that underpins the achievement of the strategic goals and the objectives and the operational excellence. It acts as the vigilant eye of the management, continuously monitoring the activities to ensure that the efforts remain aligned with the planned objectives and the standards. Without an effective control mechanism, organizations risk drifting off course, wasting valuable resources and missing vital opportunities for the improvement. Yes, while control offers substantial benefits such as enhancing efficiency, fostering coordination, and managing risk, it is not without its challenges. So, the very process that brings discipline and the order can sometimes breed resistance and incur the high cost or impose the rigidity that stifles creativity. Understanding both the empowering advantages and inherent limitations of the control is essential for managers striving to harness its full potential. Now, this balanced perspective enables organizations to improve the control systems that only not maintaining the accountability and the performance but also encourage the flexibility and the continuous growth in an ever-evolving business landscape. Let me explain you the objectives of the session. The objectives of the sessions are to make you understand the fundamental concept and the purpose of control in organizational management, to identify and analyze the key benefits that effective control brings to the organization, to recognize the common limitations and challenges associated with implementing the control systems, to explore how the control influences organizational efficiency, accountability, coordination, and risk management, to develop the insights on balancing the control mechanism to maximize the benefits while minimizing the drawbacks. Let us go in introduction of the control as a whole and then what are the benefits and limitations. So friends, as control is a widely recognized as a fundamental function of the management and integral to the successful operation and a sustainability of the organization. It encompasses the systematic process of establishing the performance standard, measuring the actual outcome, and implementing the corrective measures to ensure the alignment with the predefined objectives. The role of the control is particularly critical in the complex organizational setting where variability and uncertainty are inherent, necessitating continuous monitoring and adjustment to maintain the effectiveness and efficiency. The benefits of the control are multifaceted. It facilitates the goal attainment by providing mechanism to detect the deviations and initiate the timely corrective actions. Control enhances operational efficiency by minimizing the resource wastage and streamlining the processes. Additionally, it fosters the coordination among the diverse organizational units, promotes the accountability through transparent performance evaluation, and supports the risk management by identifying and mitigating the potential threats. Furthermore, control generates valuable feedback that informs the managerial decision making and drives the continuous improvement. However, the control function is not without the limitations. The implementation of the control systems often encounter resistance from the employees who may perceive such measures as restrictive or indicative or potentially leading to the diminished morale and reduce the creativity. The financial and administrative costs associated with the control processes can be substantial, essentially for the resource constrained organizations. Moreover, certain qualitative aspects of the organizational performance, such as employee motivation and innovation, resist precise measurement and control. The temporal lag inherent in the feedback control mechanism, it can delay corrective action, while excessive rigidity may hinder the organizational adaptability in the dynamic environments. A comprehensive understanding of the both advantages and the constraints of the control is therefore very essential for the management scholars and the practitioners, because it enables you to design the control system that not only uphold the organizational discipline and a performance standard, but also accommodate the flexibility and foster a culture of the continuous learning. Now, these balanced perspective is imperative for optimizing the control's contribution to organizational effectiveness in an increasingly complex and competitive global context. Let us try to look into what are the benefits of the control in an organization in detail. So, the first is achievement of the organizational goals. Control serves as a mechanism to ensure that all the organization activities and the allocation of resources remain focused on achieving the predetermined objectives. By establishing the clear performance standards and the benchmarks aligned with the strategic goals, control provides a framework for the continuous assessment. The process of regularly measuring the actual performance against these standards enable early identification of the deviations or discrepancies. Now, these timely detection is vital because it allows the managers to initiate the corrective actions before the minor issues escalate into a major problems. Moreover, this systematic alignment between the planned and the actual activities significantly enhances the organization's ability to meet the strategic objectives within the separated time frames and budgetary constraints, thereby increasing the overall effectiveness and the goal attainment. Second advantage is it enhances the efficiency and the productivity. Now, one of the paramount advantage of implementing the control system is that it marks the improvement in the operational efficiency. So, continuous monitoring of the workflows, processes and the outflows that enables the organization to identify and rectify the inefficiencies such as a resource wastage, production bottlenecks and the time delays. Control mechanism facilitates the optimal utilization of the inputs, whether human, financial or material, by ensuring that they are applied judiciously and without unnecessary access. Now, this proactive approach, it reduces the errors, it minimizes the redundancy and streamlines the operations, ultimately leading to the higher productivity levels. Additionally, efficient resource management, it results in the cost savings and enhanced competitiveness, positioning and the organization for the sustainable growth. Facilitates coordination and a unity of effort is another advantage. So, in the complex organizations comprising the multiple department and the functional units, control play a vital role in fostering the coordination and unity of effort. And by ensuring that all the departments adhere to the common standards, schedules and protocols, control minimizes the conflict. It overlaps and contradictions in the activities. Now, this synchronization allows for the smooth integration or interdependent tasks and the processes, promoting synergy and the collective focus. The resultant coherence enhances the organizational harmony and directs all the efforts towards the achievement of the shared goals, thereby strengthening the overall strategic alignment and the operational fluidity in the enterprise. Next advantage is it promotes the accountability and the transparency. So, the control process establishes a clear and a measurable expectations for the performance, which clarifies the roles and the responsibility of the individuals and the departments alike. By making the performance criteria explicit and communicating deadlines transparently. Control systems foster a culture of accountability. Employees become more aware of their contributions to organizational outcomes, and they understand the standards by which their work will be evaluated. Now, this transparency not only supports the equitable performance appraisal and recognition, but also motivates the employees to take the ownership of their duties and strives for the excellence. Consequently, control enhances the individual and a collective responsibility, which is a fundamental to the organizational discipline and integrity. Now, the next is it supports the risk management and preventive action. So, control functions as an essential tool for the risk identification and the mitigation. Through systematic monitoring and the evaluation, organizations can detect early warning signs of the potential problems such as financial irregularities, operational failures, regulatory compliance and the non-compliances, or the safety hazards. Now, these early detection is crucial for implementing the preventive measures that avert crisis or minimize their impact. By proactively addressing the risk, control protects organizational assets, reputation, and continuity. And furthermore, effective risk management via control mechanism, it contributes to the organizational resilience, enabling firms to withstand the external shocks and internal vulnerabilities with a greater agility. Next is it provides the valuable feedback for the decision making. So, control systems generate a continuous flow of the accurate and the timely data regarding various aspects of the organizational performance. Now, these data serves as an indispensable feedback loop that informs the managerial decision making. With access to the relevant performance metrics and the diagnostic information, managers can make well-informed adjustments to strategies, resource allocation, and operational plans. Now, this feedback-driven approach supports adaptive management whereby organization can respond dynamically to internally inefficiencies or the changes in the external environment. The resultant informed decision making enhances the strategic flexibility and a competitive advantage. Next advantage is encourages the continuous improvement and the learning. So friends, control is not merely a mechanism for the correction, it is also a catalyst for ongoing organizational learning and development. By identifying the gaps between the actual and the desired performance, control highlights the areas requiring the improvement. Now, these diagnostic function motivates organization to analyze the root essential to mitigate the risk. Next is a complexity in the bureaucracy. Now, comprehensive control systems, especially in the large and the highly regulated environment and the organization, it can introduce the layers of the bureaucracy. Now, these complexity, it often manifests as excessive paperwork, numerous reports, multiple approval processes, and hierarchical oversight structure. While intended to enhance the control, such bureaucratic procedures it can slow down the decision making. It reduces the operational responsiveness and it increases the administrative burdens on the employees and the managers. So friends, excessive bureaucracy, it can also divert attention from the core business activities. And many times what happens is it dampens the employees' initiative and also inhibit the innovation because they feel the control, right? And for that, streamlining the control processes and focus on the value added controls are very necessary to avoid these pitfalls. Now, if you really want to see that there is a balance between the benefits and the limitations of the control, then let us try to look into both. So, a control function in the organization, while it indispensable for ensuring the goal attainment, operational efficiency and the risk management inherently carries certain limitations that can hinder the organizational performance if not managed properly. So it is crucial for the organization to strike an optimal balance, leverage the benefit of the control while mitigating its drawbacks. So achieving the balance requires a strategic, flexible and a context sensitive approach tailored to the organization's unique characteristic and environment. Now, there are certain considerations and the strategies for balancing the control effectively. So, first is design the control system proportional to the organizational size, complexity, and industry. While you are designing the control system, you have to make sure that control mechanism should be thoughtfully designed to meet the scale of operations, complexity of the organization, and specific requirements of the organization. For example, a small startup with a flat structure, now it may require less formal and a more flexible control than a large multinational corporations operating in a highly regulated industry. Overly complex control system in a simpler organization, it can lead to unnecessary bureaucracy and the cost. While inefficient control in the complex settings, it can result in inefficiency and the risk exposure. So, the aligning control systems with the organization realities, it ensures that the controls are relevant, efficient and cost effective. Next is ensuring transparency and fairness to foster the employee buy-in. Employee resistance is a common limitation of the control, so often stemming from the perceptions of the unfairness to the mistrust. To encounter this, organizations must emphasize transparency in the control processes, clearly communicating the purpose, criteria, and a procedure of the control. It helps the employee understand how their performance will be assessed and why controls are necessary. Moreover, involving employees in setting the standards are allowing some degree of participation in the control process. It fosters the ownership and reduces the feelings of imposition. So the fair and the consistent application of the control measures, it promotes the trust and cooperation and minimize the resistance and enhancing the morale. Next is integrating the qualitative as well as the quantitative measures. Now, what happens is when you want to integrate the qualitative and quantitative measures, there are traditional control systems that lead and that tend to focus heavily on the quantitative metrics. For example, financial targets or a production numbers or the error rates because they are easier to measure and compare. However, such a narrow focus risks overlooking critical qualitative factors like employee engagement, innovation capacity, customer satisfaction, and organizational culture. A balanced control system incorporates both quantitative and qualitative measures to provide a comprehensive understanding of the performance. Now, this holistic approach enables managers to capture the nuances that the numbers alone cannot reveal, leading to the better informed decisions and strategies. Next is emphasizing preventing feed-forward and concurrent controls. Control mechanisms can be characterized as a feed-forward or a concurrent and a feedback or the post-event. So traditionally many organizations rely heavily on the feedback control. While useful, is inherently reactive, and it may provide and it may allow the problems to escalate before correction. Now, to balance this, organizations should invest more in the feed-forward controls that anticipate and prevent the issues before they occur, such as setting the clear guidelines, training, and a risk assessment. Concurrent controls which monitor the activities as they happen, how immediate they allow the detection and the correction of the deviations is very, very important. So emphasizing this preventive and the proactive controls, it reduces the dependence on lagging feedback, enabling the smoother operations and the fewer disruptions. Next is encouraging adaptability and innovation within the control framework. Friends, while control is also maintaining the standards and discipline, it should not suppress the creativity or the flexibility. So, organization must build a control system that allow for adaptability, permitting the deviations or experimentation when justified by the innovation or changing circumstances. Encouraging a culture where the controlled risk taking is supported, it enables the organization to remain the competitive and responsive in the dynamic markets. So, control framework should first focus and incorporate the mechanism for the continuous learning and innovation, balancing the discipline with the flexibility. Next is regularly reviewing and updating the control mechanism. So, the external environment in which the organizations operate is a constantly evolving. Technological advancements, market trends, regulatory changes, and the workforce dynamics that are all influencing how control should be applied. Static control systems risk being obsolete or counterproductive over the time. So it is essential to periodically review and update the control processes to ensure the alignment with the current organizational goals and the external conditions. Now, these ongoing refinement, it helps in identifying the outdated controls, incorporating the new best practices, and responding to the emerging risk and the opportunities, thus maintaining the control effectiveness and the organizational agility. So now, after understanding the benefits as well as the limitation and how to balance the benefit and the limitations of the control, let me try to summarize the session. Friends, we have seen that control is a vital function in the organizational management that ensures the activities, resources, and the processes align with the strategic goals. It plays a key role in achieving the objectives, improving the efficiency, and managing the risk, and providing the essential feedback for the decision making. Effective control system helps the organizations monitor the performance, detect the deviations early, and implement the timely corrective actions, thereby maintaining stability and driving consistent growth. However, control systems face the challenges such as employee resistance, high implementation cost, potential rigidity, and a difficulty measuring intangible factor. So, to balance this, the benefits and the limitations, managers must design proportional, transparent, and a flexible control mechanism that integrate both quantitative and qualitative measures. And thus, by fostering the adaptability and the regulatory updating control processes, organizations can transform control from merely oversight into a strategic tool that promotes accountability, continuous improvement, and the long-term organization success. I hope you are clear with the fundamentals of the benefits and the limitations of the control, and then thereby you must be clear about how to well design control mechanism so as to motivate your employees and control the system as a whole. I hope you like the session. Thank you.